Welcome, everyone, to the live webinar brought to you by Printing Impressions and Implant Impressions. I'm Bob Neubauer, editor and content director of Implant Impressions, and the host of today's webinar, the Innovation Master Class from Concept to Implementation, sponsored by Ricoh USA. Before we get started, I want to bring up a slide here about Printing United Alliance, our parent organization. We're proud to offer a variety of resources to support professionals like you, whether through training programs, certifications, or opportunities to connect with the broader printing community. Today's webinar is just one example of how we're here to keep you informed so you can stay ahead in the industry. Consider joining the Alliance to take advantage of all the resources available. For details, scan the QR codes below or click the Alliance widget on your console. Let me also take a second to point out the Resources widget at the bottom of your console, which looks like an open book. If you missed the Tech Tips video we played earlier, click this widget for more information on how to use the console and access other webinar resources, such as today's slides, which you can download there. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, feel free to give a thumbs up using the Reactions widget on your console. It looks like a smiley face. Now, I've visited a lot of implants in my 3 decades as editor of Implant Impressions, and occasionally I come across a shop that's just there to do the work. And if no work's coming in, that's okay with them. Well, that's not the best approach for an implant, though. If you're not seen as a valuable asset, the organization may start questioning why you're there at all. It's much better if you're viewed as a strategic partner that drives new business opportunities, an innovation hub that is constantly expanding services and capabilities to better serve the parent organization. Today, I'll be talking with 2 implant managers that have transformed their businesses by adding technology and service offerings and becoming essential value-adding partners within their organizations. And we'll hear about how their partnership with Ricoh aided in their transformation. With us today, we have Becky Kuhn, Print Shop Manager at Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance, and Nikki Hiller, Administrator of Printing and Publications at Omaha Public Schools. To start things off, I'd like to bring in former implant manager, Debbie Pavletic, Director of Ricoh's business consulting practice. Debbie's worked closely with both Virginia Farm Bureau and Omaha Public Schools and has some great perspectives and advice for implants. So are you ready, Debbie?
You bet. Thanks, Bob. All right, so let's take a look at the implant landscape and how it's evolving. Over the course of time, Implant Impressions does surveys of what is going on within the implant industry. And what we found is 63% of implants are adding value-added services, things like wide format, adding promotional items, even getting aligned with digital distribution within their organization. 15% of their revenues right now come from wide format. There's been a huge expansion in that area for wide format, mainly because of the wide format cost savings that is provided by offering that service. 74% offer online ordering and web to print services. This is right now, it's actually a requirement. It used to be an option to have a storefront, but today people are bringing in their work through online ordering systems, helping them to streamline and process things more effectively and efficiently throughout their organizations. 65% are insourcing work from the outside, and that makes up about 15% of their revenue. 86% are upgrading software and equipment to provide a better customer experience. Again, automation, integration, making it easy for someone to submit work into their organization. The number one challenge right now is adding automation. As we came through COVID, people have been looking for ways to do more with less or with the same individuals within their organization, and automation is key to that. Today's business environment is really driving a lot of change within the industry. Implants align their goals and objectives to address the impact of today's business challenges. They are always looking for ways to improve time to market with a web to print storefront, potentially providing resources to ensure brand identity compliance, implementing strategies to reduce processing costs and to lower postage costs. Heightened security concerns have influenced the automation and an In-Plant keeps that data safe and secure. We need to focus on what we can control and impact to lessen the areas of concern in today's business environment. Digital transformation is affecting all of us, from digital communications to the way we process data through our operations. Automation and integration is a key focus, as we heard in the last slide, to ensure we can do more with less and spend time in productive processes that generate revenue instead of spending time in processes that we generally don't charge back for. Those business challenges are transforming our operations. It's really important as you're looking at those challenges that are in the industry and aligning your strategic focus, looking for ways to support your organization's goals and objectives. Focus on what you can control. Tariffs is a big concern out there right now. We can't control that, but we can control how we effectively process work through our operation, what services we provide, and how we can streamline and, again, be as efficient as we can within our operations. Taking also advantage of how digital and print complement each other, looking for ways to support that within your organization. Provide options for communication preferences as well. That's especially important not with a web to print storefront, but important with transactional print operations and organizations as well. Use metrics to drive your operation to achieve best in class. Look at what those metrics are to drive your decision-making processes. So key innovation areas that we're seeing within In-Plants, and I think it's even more prevalent today than it has been in the past, but in the operations area, it's important to look for workflow optimization. Look at your production capabilities, making sure that they are aligned with what your customers' project requirements indicate you need to have in place. Take advantage of technology, the software and equipment that is in the marketplace today. The reason that there is innovation from a manufacturing standpoint is that we're always looking for ways to do something better, cheaper, more effective, something that can help turn things around more quickly. So it's important to stay on top of technology. You also need to look at your products and services, your core services, from print, mailing, and fulfillment to value-added services like design, personalization, or variable data, incorporating wide format and promotional items. So these are areas that we saw a lot of In-Plants actually expanding in recently that have allowed them to innovate in those areas. We always look at the document lifecycle as well. Everything starts with marketing and a concept and a document as it's developed, moving through into customer experience, order management, file and data prep. It's always important to look at a document's life cycle, look at the journey that that document takes throughout your organization and throughout your operations and as it's distributed, and find ways to streamline, automate, and integrate those systems. That's what's going to help you to be the most effective within your organizations. Some of the best practices that are important to keep in mind. You're going to hear today from two In-Plant managers who really have that entrepreneurial mindset. You need to look at yourself as the CEO of your print operation, always looking for ways to improve, looking for ways to streamline processes, finding ways to reduce the amount of time that you spend in non-productive or non-chargeable areas and focus on working in areas where you can charge back or produce something within it. So it's really important, as we talked earlier, about automation and integration, looking for ways to utilize software and technology to drive work throughout your operation. It's important to also effectively market your services. Find ways to communicate not only the types of projects that you're producing, but what you've done and what you've accomplished. Communicate your value, track and report it. Let everybody know what your cost savings are to your organization. Let them know how you are impacting goals and objectives of your organization and supporting your organization from that perspective. Also, in the area of services, you need to continually review and implement changes to adapt to market trends. We talked about adding wide format. We've talked about, potentially offering promo items, but look at ways that you can implement changes that impact your organization based on what trends there are in the marketplace. And then you need to always be looking for ways to expand services. Again, it was wide format and promotional items in the most recent past. What is it going to be in the future? You constantly need to be looking at how you can adapt your services to the changing needs of your customer base. And then position your operation as that organization's print resource, that one-stop shop, the centralized location to help print buyers and customers process their work through your shop. And all going without saying, but keep in pace with technology. Make sure that you're implementing leading edge technology to drive the business within your organization. As we look at an operations workflow, it's really important to look at all aspects of that workflow and find ways that you can automate and integrate those systems. So you look at, production print, and you want to make sure that you're finding ways in the creation and submission process through file and document prep to automate those processes. Again, looking for ways to be more productive within each of those areas and focusing on producing work rather than processing work. And now what I'd like to do is I'm going to turn this back over to Bob so we can talk about our in-plant innovators. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I missed one slide. I'm sorry, Bob. It's also important as you're initiating innovation that you do that with a vision. Again, we're going to hear from Becky Kuhn and Nikki Hiller about their visions, how they developed a plan to innovate within their shop. And as you're doing that, make sure you're defining the ROI or the return on investment of those changes. And you start by assessing your current state, engaging your employees, getting them involved in the process of helping you to develop and carry out your mission. Get your customers engaged as well. Let them know what you're planning on doing, why you're planning on doing it, and that actually becomes a marketing opportunity for you within your organization. And while you're doing that, you're always looking for continuous improvement. So looking for ways, again, that you can innovate and change to adapt to market trends and to your customers' needs. All right, Bob, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Debbie. Some excellent points there, particularly the fact that you need to see yourself as the CEO of your in-plant, streamline your operation to save time and money, market it, expand services, all the things that a CEO of a company would do, you should be focusing on. So now I want to find out more from Becky and Nikki about how they did these things and transformed their in-plants. So let me start with Becky. How are you doing today, Becky?
I'm doing well, Bob. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, can you tell me a little bit more about Virginia Farm Bureau's in-plant?
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to share. We are basically, our big business is insurance. So, of course, that requires a lot of printing. And we have 3 Ricoh black and white printers. We have 2 color printers. We have a Zonte envelope printer. We also have wide format and Colex cutting. We have cut sheet finishing of all kinds, slitters, cutters, creasers, folders, tabbers, all those sort of things. Yeah, and we do all this, use all this equipment with 3 employees. We're running about 38,400 jobs a year, impressions, 960,000 color, 10,200,000 black and white, and then we have about 36,000 square foot of signage. We do our statement billing as well for our insurance products, so that's part of our black and white sheet fed. We have wide format and finishing, of course, and then we service about 500 people. We have a few more employees but that's about how many are using our services. And then our biggest customers are our marketing and our Salesforce team, with items for them to promote their sales.
Yeah. Nice. I was going to ask you why you had 3 black and whites, but I see that you have 10.2 million black and white impressions, so that answers that question. Here's some images from inside your shop there. So describe some of the recent innovations at your In-Plant and how you've transformed your business.
Yeah, absolutely. We were able to implement some new equipment, some new software, upgrading previous items, adding some new items. Our wide format really took a big step by adding the hybrid 16H, and then we also added the Colex cutter, and it's that part of the business has grown immensely. With our sales staff was outsourcing a lot of these items, and now we're able to bring those in-house.
That's excellent. I know. So in previous years, you hadn't upgraded, regularly, and so then you brought all these upgrades and innovations in. But I'm curious, where did your vision for those innovations originate?
Actually, a RICO study. They came in, looked at our operations, saw what we were doing. We were actually being very cost effective. So it gave us an opportunity to expand on that. Once we knew that, we were saving so much money, we could find other opportunities to save. And these all came out of the study, possibly increasing our wide format in particular, and upgrading our equipment actually ended up probably saving us money. And then implementing a storefront has definitely saved us time.
Yeah. So do you think having that RICO operations review really gave you a little bit more credibility internally than if you had just said these things yourself and said, "Hey, we're saving money"? Did it help?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure all implants are faced with the issue from time to time that somebody thinks it's cheaper to do it outside. And for us to have the study and to prove them wrong was really important to us. And then it gave us an opportunity to not worry about, are they going to outsource us? Let's move forward. Let's grow our business. Let's offer even more services.
Yep. I think many times hearing it from someone on the outside just has a little bit more credibility. And so that was a good move. What did change about your equipment, like compared to what you had before and now?
Well, the black and whites that we put in, we were using an older technology, and we were able to put more paper in and get more paper out because our work automates before we actually get here in the morning. So with being able to do that, by the time we get here, we're an hour or so ahead of where we would have been before with the old equipment.
Nice.
And some of these things were, upgrades from what we had before as far as our color. And then, like I mentioned, the wide format. We had a small wide format printer that we could just do some roll items on. And now we have the hybrid, and we can do rigid equipment. And if you know anything about Salesforce, they love a yard sign. So that's kind of what we do a lot of.
Nice. Is it tough to get the funding for this? You're in their eyes, in the company's eyes, you have wide format already. So now you want more. They don't understand. So how did you convince them that was a good move to expand the wide format capabilities?
Well, I promise you, the executive team that we presented this to, they want to see numbers. And it was very easy with a little bit of research to put on paper what we were spending from outsourcing and what it would cost to bring these items in-house. And when they could see this, even though we were going to spend a little more money up front, they could see the savings over the course of of time, and that that's they like to see those numbers on paper, and it was really really easy to prove that we could do that.
Yeah, that's the key. Yep, having the figures there, and especially the cost savings, because they understand that. And I know you made changes to your workflow too, right? You mentioned some of those. So you added the Market Direct storefront, is that right?
Yes, we added the Market Direct storefront, and we were using a really old way to do things. A lot of emails, there was some paper orders, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the storefront allowed us to streamline a lot of that. Everybody seems to be on board with sending their orders, and if they need help, it's not hard to help them. And then when we're starting to pull reports, we were spending hours a month doing reports to send to our accounting department for a charge-off. And now it's down to about 20 minutes a month. And actually, when I was working on some numbers for somebody else, I found there's ways to go in there and pull reports for just about anything you want to know. And to me, that's amazing. I don't have to sit around and go through a bunch of old papers.
Yeah, that's certainly an excellent time saver, and the ability to do reports you couldn't do before is also pretty useful. Other software, I think you had the Rico Streamline NX device management software. How has that helped out?
I'm sorry.
You had some device management software as well. Has that helped out?
Oh, yeah. We that's worked out pretty good. They could send directly to the printer from our storefront.
Yeah.
And we also have some other software that we use for doing some newsletters and things like that. We have a Fusion Pro software that we had upgraded at our last upgrade.
Yep. Nice. Well, I know, consolidating vendors like you did from multiple vendors to a single vendor was a big step. What was the most significant operational change you noticed once everything was standardized under Rico equipment and software?
It really made it easier. If you're going to need to talk to someone about what's going on, you have your sales team, you have your service team, you have your tech team, and they can answer for anything that's in there, anything that's in your shop. It's, one call, one email, and they're there helping you out.
Yeah. So it definitely made things a little bit easier for you to run the shop. So one thing that comes up all the time now is AI. And I wonder, where do you see AI playing a role in your business, or do you?
Well, I'm sure that it'll be. It's just I've not gotten very deep into that yet. I'm not real sure where, but I'm sure it will be before long.
Yeah, you're probably in the same boat as a lot of other managers, trying to sort it out, figure out how it can help.
Absolutely.
So when you were talking with Rico Consultants, they pointed out that there was some opportunity in expanding your services to new clients, including county offices, right, agents, claims adjusters. So how did you promote your business to customers like these who maybe weren't aware that you could do anything for them?
Yeah, we have our internal intranet, and we did a little bit of advertising on there. We also Rico hosted an open house for us when we set up our storefront, and we were able to promote our whole shop, not just the storefront. And if you have an agent out there getting something and somebody sees it, word of mouth is the best. They're coming to us to get some as well.
Yep, very good. Any other initiatives that you've implemented to increase productivity in the shop?
Well, yeah, there's lots of things we've done. The productivity's increased quite a bit. As I was speaking with Debbie earlier, there's just been so much work that it's hard to stop and think about what to do next. But there's been plenty of opportunities to grow that.
Yeah. So I know you're an example of one who had older technology that kept breaking down and, having delays. And then when you switched to the Ricoh equipment, you eliminated that downtime and you reduced waste, you increased quality. So what would you say to other implants who have older technology that are just put?
I'm sorry. Are you still there, Bob?
Hi, everyone. It seems like there might be some technical difficulties with Bob. So Becky, I'll just jump in really quickly. I'm Ashley Roberts. I'm a content director for Printing Impressions. Hi, Becky. So
Hi.
I think did Bob join us again? Nope. Okay. So I think he was asking about older equipment and moving to newer equipment. If you could kind of talk about that.
Yeah, well, we did. We had a few pieces in here that were really limping. And when we added the new equipment, it was amazing how much uptime we had. And we actually were able to switch from 4 large black and white to 3 black and white. And our production did not skip a beat. It was amazing. But just because the new equipment was so much more efficient than the older stuff we were using. And if somebody's out there thinking, I can make this go another year, I say bite the bullet and go with the upgrade, because you will not regret it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. So I'll move to another question, maybe about AI, because you're bringing in new equipment. Are you seeing any new advancements like that playing a role in your business moving forward with this new equipment and new technology?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as production goes, it's up, and like I said, I haven't had a lot of opportunity to look into how AI is affecting us, but it's certainly been a big increase in what we're doing as far as the new equipment being here.
Okay. And so I think as we wait for Bob to join us again.
Ashley, I'm here on the phone. So
okay.
Yeah, my computer strangely just died. It was gone. So I'm calling back in.
Okay.
But I think we can just continue here. If you could advance maybe to the slide for Nikki. Nikki, I wanted to bring you in and give you a chance to tell us a little bit more about your operation there and some of the changes that you've made. So yeah, give us a little bit background on Omaha Public Schools. So we're not hearing you, Nikki. I'm not sure if you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. For inkjets, we have 2 Kyocera's 15,000. Those are cut sheets. We have a Risa with the Tech Now, which is a roll to cut inkjet. Toner, we have the Ricoh 9500. We have a Zante Impresia we primarily use for our envelopes. For wide format, we have the Arizona 48 by 96 flatbed with a roll option. We have the Zante X33 flatbed for our one-offs. We have a Colorado M5W, which has your varnish and your white. We have the Colex cutter for finishing with braille. We have multiple laminators. We have a perfect binder, a collator, folder. We have a perf cut creaser for the Duplos. We have a guillotine cutter. We have thermal bind, coil bind, hole punch. We have a galore of finishing options. For mail, we have a video jet with tabber and a quadient folder inserter. We have 13 employees in the shop. For our software, we have Market Direct Storefront, Slingshot, Switch, Fusion Pro. We have BCC Mail and Fiery and Hot Folders. We approximately do about 40,000 jobs a year, about 20 million color and about 24 million black and white a year. Our signage is growing, which is about 70,000 square feet right now a year. We offer many services or offerings for the district. We have black and white, color, books, finishing, wide format, signage, posters, and ADA signage. So our customer base is just the school district, which is 94 to 96 schools in 109 locations, and our main customers is the district, and which is principals, administrators, teachers, staff.
Now, you've been pretty busy lately, Nikki. From what and you've done made a lot of changes at the in-plant. Why don't you give us a quick recap of some of the recent changes and innovations that have transformed it?
So we did a total expansion in the last year. It was 2 years in the making and a lot of vision and a lot of hard work and sweat, not only with me, but my whole crew. So they've been amazing. Our expansion, we went from Xerox and we expanded to, like I said, the 2 Kyocera's 15,000 inkjet. Inkjet plays a huge role with us to keep the costs down. Reso is also the new offering, which is really cool if you've not seen that, because roll does save the employee to load the paper, so it's a constant feed. So it's roll and it cuts before it goes into our machine, and then it's inkjet, so it still provides the savings of inkjet. We added the 9500. The reason why is we saw that they were outsourcing a lot of high quality pieces. In this, the Ricoh 9500 does an excellent job on the high quality, so we can still offer what they were outsourcing for a lower cost. The district went in to meet federal guidelines, so we offered the Colex cutter with Braille. This we were able to do it with other machines, but we wanted to make sure that there would not be any issues in the future, knowing if someone wasn't able to touch the Braille. So that was one. And then now that we have it, there's a lot of fun things we can do with that Colex cutter. Yes. The other one was the Arizona flatbed. We went with a 48 by 96 with the roll option. The reason with that is with 109 locations, they were outsourcing a lot of signage. So we're now being able to bring that in-house. And then with the roll option, it gives us another way of printing. We've been putting our vinyl on there, which has been really nice to not switch the paper in and out of our Colorado. Saying that, we jumped to, when we moved, if anybody doesn't know that, I moved locations from about 5 miles north of our old one. And to move equipment, it does come with an expense. So we went ahead and upgraded our Colorado, the 1650 to the W5W or the Pro, which added the white and the varnish, which allows our posters to have a little more uniqueness to them compared to before just doing the plain 4-color. We added the Quadient folder inserter, and the reason for this is we learned that the district was paying overtime for staff to do stuffing parties. So this gives us the opportunity to add value and to take away from their handwork to automating it. We also added 2 laminators. To everybody in a school district loves everything laminated. So we offer to speed up the turnaround time for that. We now have 3 laminators. We installed a CP or Borg Perfect Binder. This allows us to print the consumables and give that nice perfect bind finished look. The other thing to automate, we added 2 Duplos, which can perf, cut, score, and crease. this allows us to program it, walk away, and have staff do something else without sitting at a perforator or a cutter.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. So where did the vision for all these innovations originate?
To be honest, I felt networking was my best pull. I went to IPMA, I went to Printing United, I went to the Inkjet Summit, I went to the Wide Format Summit. Talking to all of these people, hearing, it's just not implants of meaning school districts, hearing where everybody is wanting to grow, hearing where everybody is wanting to do more with less because of not being able to train employees or bring employees that are trained to do such things. I was able to hear everybody's story, see where technology was going, see the expertise of where everybody was going, and then take it back, talk to the vendors that I was working with, and hearing, I guess, where the district was outsourcing everything and making sure that my store with this expansion could grow to meet all these needs.
Yeah, well, that's the way to do it, really. So you did everything right. And I know that you made changes to your workflow as well, the Market Direct storefront, new MIS. Have those had an impact yet?
Yes, so we already had Market Direct storefront. We just switched our MIS system. So our MIS now is a Bonte Slingshot. This is a little more user-friendly, what we found out, to, I guess, have our staff implement and make changes. That has been really nice. And then the other addition has been InFocus Switch. So those, just having that has not made a full impact because we're still working through all of our workflows. But just one to say is we are automatically printing all of our tickets that are coming through without having somebody sit there and print every single ticket. And like last month, we did over 5,000 jobs.
Yeah, would be a lot of work. You said that you got the Ricoh 9500, and it sounds like that is sort of the high quality option. So I suppose the inkjet that you got is it because those jobs wouldn't really match the quality needs that are printed on inkjets? So you got the Ricoh?
I think the Kyocera does a really good job on color, but you cannot print on a coated sheet on the Kyoceras or the ones we have. So the 9500 elevates what the inkjet on a coated sheet and provides that nice professional, what we would consider outward facing marketing pieces. So it offers the district, one that you might want to be using in your classroom, and one that you want to make sure you're promoting to the public.
Yeah, right. So how about in your case, where do you see artificial intelligence playing a role in the business?
Right now, we use it a lot with graphics. So if you want to design an arm, it does a really good job facilitating the need without spending a lot of time. That is one thing. We use it for building like kind of the fillers or automating fillers in reports. So it helps kind of boost or automate that streamline without doing a lot of research. The other thing that I'm working towards, and I think a lot of people in this environment will, is I would like to see the grow with AI in branding and font recognition. So when you could put that in your workflow, that it could see how much time you're saving and saving the district, that when, like us, we have 96 different brands for each school, this could help us not print something that might be, we don't have the rights to print.
Right. Yep. So how are you promoting all of your new capabilities, to bring in more business to the implant?
I started a year ago working with Rico on the omni-channel campaign. I have not launched it. The reason why is because we just moved and I want to make sure we are trained and ready to roll on all our offerings before we launch what our new offerings are. So that is really nice because it does an email campaign and you can track everybody who's watching it and what the return on that is. Again, I think we heard earlier, word of mouth. Word of mouth is our best promoting of our new capabilities.
And you also had the IPMA Roadshow. I'm sure that also helped promote you a bit.
Oh, yes. And internally, it was very nice to give the positive feedback that the Roadshow did offer, and the district can see how many other implants are going through the same things we're going through, staffing, expansion, new equipment, and dealing with all of that. That was great. And then also the Roadshow, to hear from everybody else in this local area that came, it was really, really nice to see the support and seeing what each one of them are doing.
Yeah. Now, I'm also curious because with K through 12 implants, we talk a lot about curriculum printing, and I wonder when you upgraded your inkjet, did that allow you to do more curriculum?
Yes, we are going down that pathway, hearing other implants that are starting to take on more and more curriculum. We set up a storefront that is allowing us to put the curriculum pieces that they are allowed to reprint. So we click up their word cards, anything that they use over and over again that's I guess an easy click for them to order compared to them to run the copiers. The consumables, meaning as a workbook, we are in the works of trying to each adoption, making sure that we have the language in the RFP to make sure we are an option to print those things. That's why we did move forward with the low-cost inkjet. That's why we did move forward with the perfect binder.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that in your discussions with Rico, they helped you evaluate equipment and add features to help you automate processes and produce those applications that you need. So what's the biggest benefit you got from consulting with Rico?
Working with Rico gave me the opportunity to tell them my needs and having them come back with data and equipment and way to streamline my business compared to trying to do all the work myself. It was a huge benefit to know there are different options that you can choose from that will help facilitate something more our niche compared to a corporate plant.
Yeah. Did Rico help you develop pricing for your services?
Yes, I worked with Debbie on how, across the board what they're charging, and then gave her my information to help lower the cost. That was my big thing, is to lower the cost, the chargeback. So we worked on formulas to help reduce our costs.
Reduce. So that would have been, you would have probably got a good response internally when customers saw that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Well, good. Well, I'd actually like to now bring everybody back into the conversation and ask some questions that, maybe a couple of you could answer. I'll start with one for Debbie. Debbie, how do you advise organizations to balance investment in automation with diversification of services for maximum growth?
Well, as you're looking for ways to expand and implement that technology, you're obviously, looking for ways to streamline processing, be more effective, look for ways to expand services and grow your capabilities. I mean, it's amazing to hear from Becky and from Nikki how they approach their business and look for ways to diversify and expand those services. And ultimately, that's going to help pay the bills and to make their cost per page or cost per square foot less as they move forward within their operations. So you constantly have to look for, look for technology and services that complement each other so that you can take care of the needs of your customer base.
And so question for Becky and Nikki, has adding new services such as wide format or personalized direct mail, do you feel that's increased your in-plant's value? Maybe start with Becky.
Yeah, I could say absolutely. I know it has, because these people were buying these items outside, and now that they can bring them in-house and get them for a fraction of the cost, it's definitely increased our value.
And has the parent organization, Virginia Farm Bureau, recognized that?
Yes, they like to see the bottom line, and we can show them where we're saving money, and that makes everybody happy.
Well, good. And Nikki, in your case, when you added new services, do you feel that's increased the in-plant's value?
Yes, adding everything we did made it a centralized print shop that added the value to the district, that you don't need to go anywhere else. They can see the return, they can see where all the money's going, and they can see where the focus needs to be. So I hear back all the time the positive of now they can just have it designed, printed, and all of it done in one stop. So it's well received.
I know you both added wide format equipment. I'm curious, has that been followed by a big increase in wide format business, Nikki?
Adding the signage has really increased. We were not even ready for all of the stuff that came to us in the last couple months, from parking signs to the Wayfinder is what they're calling them, the Wayfinder. That's not even including the ADA that we're going to be printing. They're going to start with 5 schools and to add the ADA and the Wayfinder to make sure that each school keeps a fresh look. So knowing that that's going to be continued, yes, the value on our large format to add multiple ups compared to doing one at a time is going to save us so much time.
Yeah. And I know, Becky, you had already talked about how you got so much more wide format business. So I guess you kind of answered that. But so let me just move to a different question. Were there any organizational hurdles that you faced in convincing all the internal stakeholders to invest in your in-plant? Becky, any big hurdles that you faced?
Well, I think when I put it on paper and showed them what we could save, they had to go with it, because it's like it's here. If you make a small investment, and then you're going to see the return on that in no time. And they agreed. I mean, I had to present it to the executive team, and they weren't going to just let me come up there and blow smoke. I had to have, proof on paper.
Yeah, you need to be ready.
Yeah, and they agreed, and I think they're still happy.
Well, I think that's good for in-plants to hear, because a lot of them maybe never get to that point. They just assume that, it's going to cost so much money, I'm not even going to bring it up. But, from what you're saying, you bring it up, you show them, you get ready, you show them the savings, and then you bring it up, and then it's up to them to make the smart or the dumb decision, right? Did you find anything, Nikki, in your dealings with your stakeholders, any hurdles that you had to cross to get the funding for all of this?
No, I did. Like I said, I had to provide the data to show where the growth would, the expansion was needed. The key with me, which they allowed me the space to grow, even though I didn't have the equipment that we're going to use right now. And the reason why is with curriculum and with the path we are taking, I couldn't put, like I said, I wanted to do it all with a larger press, but I had to scale down, knowing that in 7 years or in 5 years, I'm going to have to take another step. And that is going to be my key. We're going to constantly be innovating, streamlining, and automating. And they saw that. And it was a great support, knowing that they see the vision and they see why they need to support the in-plant.
Good. So, and Debbie, how critical is it to select the right strategic vendor or technology partner? I mean, how critical to setting up a long-term roadmap for success?
Well, again, working with a partner that not only provides you with the equipment, but provides you with everything that makes that equipment and software work for you is really important, because that's going to help to carry out that mission, to be able to produce the work, to give you the information that you need, just like Becky and Nikki mentioned, that you need to get upper management support for any of the changes that are going to be needed to carry out your vision. It's so important to be proactive with that, not only with carrying out your vision, but day to day. When you look at organizations and you talk about cost savings, if you're proactive with that, sharing information on saving cost, talking about what the make versus buy is with your operation, that's all really critical to help support your mission and your vision. Share what you do. Share the key values that you have. Make sure that you're staying, ahead of the curve. I know we're talking a lot about cost here too, and some organizations that we've heard, if they have an outsourcing threat, so to speak, they have to be reactive to that. Do that up front. Show your organization what it costs for you to produce something internally versus having it purchased externally. And there's more than just the cost of print. There's the cost of shipping. There's the cost of rush fees. There's so much that you have to take into consideration.
Yep. Yep. And I think what we're all saying here is don't keep trying to fly under the radar. I've heard that term a lot, where you try not to be seen. I think it's more important that you tell them what you do, show your value, and bring them the facts, bring them the figures so that they can see that.
Yep.
We had some questions submitted, and I wanted to ask this one. It's sort of a different one. The person says, of course, you can't do everything for everyone. So is there one thing your department, Becky and Nikki, currently provides or offers that you would love to stop supporting? Nikki, anything like that?
It's not a product. And we just talked about it in one of my meetings with other school districts. What I found out is when you use a storefront, you want them to select the correct item so it streams everything through. When they make special notes, or they're like, oh, I want it laminated, or when they're constantly adding instead of selecting, that's one thing I'm working towards, of not technically rejecting their order, but educating them that they need to start from the beginning to have everything streamlined, so their turnaround can be much quicker when they automate it, compared to, constantly fixing every order for somebody who doesn't want to do it correctly from the beginning. So that is going to be something I'm going to work on. It wouldn't be an item that I'm taking away that I don't want to do. It's just that I can do so much more when they help me from the beginning, instead of having staff help me fix their ticket.
Right. Well, in your case, Becky, anything your department currently provides that you'd love to stop providing?
I think that's interesting, because I would echo what Nikki said, is if we could get them to, go into the storefront ready with their, their file and everything they need, it would certainly make things easier. We even have people that come to us and go, I just wanted to say this. So they want us to do the artwork. So if there's one thing I don't want to do, is the artwork. That's not my specialty.
Yeah. I know when you were working with Rico, Becky, one way they helped you was in creating a more efficient shop layout. I think Rico's principal consultant, Brian Patterson, took a lot of measurements and drew up options. How has the resulting layout been more efficient for you?
That's been great, because when we started talking about this equipment, I said, that sounds good, but I don't know where we're going to put it. And he came in and, he measured everything, and he said, let's move this here, let's move that. Actually gave us 2 or 3 options. and it works really, really well. I mean, I couldn't imagine that it could have come out that well, but it did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, and that's a great service that they offer. Nikki, in your case, what would you say to other implants with older technology that are just kind of putting up with it? They don't think they can get any funding, and they're just like, it's all right. Breaks down a lot, but we get it out. Any advice from your perspective?
I would say no matter if you're holding on to it because it's to save money, everything has a cost to it. So because you're not upgrading, because you're not looking to expand or to do anything new within your shop, it is probably costing you. And don't look at it as a now, look at it in the future of how it's going to save you.
Yep, good way to look at it. So Debbie, from your perspective, what are the common traits of implant operations that successfully transform into innovation hubs?
Well, again, they let the data drive their business. They focus on communicating their key values. You look at an operation and one that understands the financial aspects of their operation, and then communicating that through their marketing programs. But when we look at the key values of an implant, there are several key areas. I mean, from the financial side, what we see is that from a cut sheet environment, organizations save 25 to 30% on average for that type of work. Signage even more. So if you have your organization right-sized with the equipment, software, technology, and the labor in place, that's what you can expect to save within an implant operation. Again, you need to look at the total cost of ownership. What is the cost for delivery as well? One thing that implants do really well is they offer cost savings opportunities. They talk with their customers about how they should be producing something from a bindery standpoint, or even from the substrates and whatnot associated with it. If you look at the customer service aspects of an implant, you heard from Nikki and Becky today talking about how they've been able to offer faster turnaround, streamlined processing by automating processes. So you always have to look for ways to make it easy for someone to connect to you. And then once you have that work, how you can effectively and efficiently process that through your workflow. Key value too, quality. No one knows your organization better than an implant because you're internal within that organization. You can help to ensure brand identity compliance by through your implant because you're familiar with what those requirements are. And then security and compliance. Obviously, the security of having all of that data and information internally within your organization, especially if you're working with invoices, statements, if you're doing mailings, having that internal maintained security for an organization. And having that centralized control, being able to be that one-stop shop, again, making it easy for your customers to approach you and send work into you. And that all comes in, that value-added package where, you're not only providing print, but you're providing other options for processing work as well. Many implants have design within their operation. That's not something that Becky does, but she is more transactional, where Nikki is doing a little bit more print on demand, where offering design services may help to onboard those jobs, because design is really the gateway to print. So, implants that are very proactive in their approach, they understand their finances, their marketing, they're always looking for ways to do things better, faster, cheaper. Those are the ones that are going to really be the future of implants, or where they need to be within the marketplace.
Well, I think that is an excellent place to wrap things up here. Thank you for that, Debbie, and thank you both, Nikki and Becky, for talking to us today. I think we've got a lot of great information, and I think you're both good inspirations for other implant managers out there to accomplish transformations like you did. So with that, I want to thank all of our audience for joining us today. We'd like to remind you that this webinar is brought to you by In-Plant Impressions and Printing Impressions, both Printing United Alliance media brands, and it's been made possible by Rico USA. If you're not yet familiar with the Alliance, we invite you to explore the many resources that we provide to support your success in the printing and graphic arts industry. So please visit printing.org and please attend Printing United Expo, where I'm going to be seeing our speakers today and a whole bunch of other implants and commercial printers. So be sure to check out our webinar page to get information on all of our archived and upcoming webinars. And finally, if you would take just a minute to fill out the brief feedback survey that'll appear on your screen next, it is much appreciated. Your feedback helps shape future webinars. So thank you again for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Have a great day, everyone.